Good morning. Happy Monday. We're going to do something completely different today, and that is filming on a work day before I go to work. So, my dread hour, and Dirk just got off work. You're working from home, so you're always working, or you're always on vacation. Happy Monday. The girls are off. They're off this week, or the first part of the week, anyways. So we came back from the beach, and I came back on my own. So I got to work during the week, and they don't. They're doing a college tour type thing, and so I went to bed early. I was tired from 2 days of absorbing the message of the sun god. I wasn't in the sun a lot, but it does wear you out. So I went to bed super early. So I'm like, it was like 4, and I'm like, I'm getting up. I'm getting up, and we're gonna do something positive, something I want to do before I have to do stuff I have to do. So it's gonna be about an hour for sure, unless I get disconnected, and in which case it'll be shorter. And yeah, let's see where this takes us. Public holiday here for Easter. Easter was yesterday. I don't know. Lots of people were off for Good Friday too, and I never understood that one. But anyhow, no holiday for me. So I went down in the Tampa Bay area, and a friend of mine has a store down there. It's called Gundam of Japan, and he's got all those Gundam things and anime things and stuff like that. But he also has paint, which is where I come in. So I picked up some stuff from him, even though he wasn't there yesterday on Saturday. And I figured I'd show you some of the stuff that I picked up. Why not? Because I'm going to use it. And you're going to wonder, where the hell did you get that from? So he's got Citadel paints. And remember we did the thing where we discovered the airbrush thinner is taking this lead belcher, and I couldn't remember what the name of it was. We took this lead belcher and we thinned it down and put it in this dropper. And I complained about it really wasn't that useful because I make a mess every time I use it. Well, I couldn't remember which color it was, so hopefully I didn't pick two of the same one. Lead belcher, that's right. So we picked up a lead belcher original that hasn't been thinned down because I was actually running out of this stuff anyway, so we're not going to thin this down or anything. So we got lead belcher here, a darker color, which I don't remember that if I had it or not. It's called Iron Warriors. So if we do this with a Nuln Oil wash, it's going to be really, really dark. So we might need to do something with blackened armor, or I don't know. I picked it up. I was there. And this is kind of a bluish type steel color. It's called Gray Knight Steel. And I don't think I've got one that's bluish. So, yeah, so I picked that up. Anyhow, and never can have too many Tufts. So my quest for having every single color of Tuft continues. And I picked up, and I'm hoping I don't have a second one of these, but I don't know. I had no intention of purchasing this stuff. This is a Wasteland Tufts from Army Painter. And Frozen Tufts. Kind of arid, desert-like. Looks really green there, but it's really not. And last but not least, taking a big gamble here. A big gamble of $8. Meadow Flowers. So I don't know that I would call these flowers, but I've got one of the lowland shrubs or whatever. That's its cousin of this. It looks like it's the same material sprinkled on the edges. And we'll mix these along with the other ones that we have, including the ones that we got from Australia, in our projects moving forward. So Harvey, welcome. Good after. Let's see, what is it? Time is it for you? Still morning. Good morning. Yeah, so that's what we picked up in Tampa on my way down to visiting the Temple of the Sun God. Perfect weather. Perfect, absolutely perfect weather. Water was still a little cold, but I'm a sissy when it comes to cold water. Not when it comes to cold weather, but to getting water, I do not do well with cold water, but I got in anyways. So anyhow, I don't know. Maybe we'll do these all week. We'll see how many folks show up. I am a big fan of starting my day off with something positive. So in my psyche, I am pro doing these. There's no girls in the house, so I can be as loud and obnoxious as I want to be. And so I'm talking in my normal loud voice, not the whispering around the girls are sleeping kind of voice. So we'll see where this takes us. So where we left off is, so we got a convention coming up at the end of the week. Our small show here in Kissimmee or Orlando area. And one of the things I want to do is have this baggage element complete. And this baggage element is going to consist of 4 horses. And we got 2 of them done the other night. So that was extremely impressive. So if I can get another horse done in an hour, I will be really happy. We got 2 of these horses, and these are Chariot Horses, and they have a different type of equipment that they're carrying. This one's got Roman-like shields, which I don't care if I use this for a medieval army. They just decided to do an excavation and find some old Roman shield. We're not going to super decorate the Roman shields with, from Legio Fulmigata or something like that. Fulminata. We're not going to do all kinds of research on what legion it's from. We're just going to paint them kind of generic and may not even paint them red at all. Just so they don't stand out and go, hey, what are those medieval guys doing with Roman shields? Shut up, I'm just putting 4 horses on them because they're very, very small. Very, very small horses. So we've got a medium brown, a dark brown. Let's do this guy in the buff color. Let's buff this guy out. No Easter holiday for you. No. No overtime. Yeah, we're off yesterday, Sunday. No, I could take today off, but I didn't. I'm off next Friday. So here's the thing. When I say next Friday, I mean the next Friday that comes up. It doesn't mean, oh yeah, don't worry about this Friday, the next one. So if I say, I wouldn't call tomorrow next Tuesday, but I would call the day after tomorrow next Wednesday. It's the next Wednesday coming up. So I guess if you use next that way, you don't use this at all. Yeah. I don't ever say this Wednesday. I don't know. In about 4 days, I'm not going to work because I'm taking Friday off because that's our convention day. That's day 1 of our convention. It's small. It's only over the week. It's only a long weekend. So no, we do not get today off. We get Sunday off. We only get like 5 holidays a week or something like that you have to take your own day off. And from the top, New Year's Day, which is not always celebrated on that day. What am I trying to say? Sometimes we're off on the 31st and not the 1st because the 1st falls on a weekend. We never work the 1st. But anyways, so New Year's Day. Then what's the next one that comes up? Memorial Day, which is the first Monday in May. 4th of July. Labor Day, which is the first Monday in September. Thanksgiving Day. And the day after Thanksgiving. We've only worked the day after Thanksgiving 1 year. It was 1995. And a coworker that I had, actually he's still there. I don't know if he blew it, but his job got out of control. And we needed to produce one more day. So we got screwed out of not having the day after Thanksgiving off. But traditionally, the day after Thanksgiving always falls. It's the last Thursday of the month of November here in the United States. And we had to work that day. But usually that's the day we have off. And then Christmas. So, and they're always screwing with Christmas. There's been a couple of years where they're just off for the day. I think this year what they're doing is everybody's taking whatever the entire week of Christmas. They're shutting the whole plant down, which is what I like to do, because then I can just walk away from the place. I don't have to, nothing happens while I'm on vacation. I don't have to do anything in advance. That's my kind of vacation. You just step out of the place and everything's back where you left it. My biggest, one of my biggest gripes about vacation is you got to be tortured and do a bunch of work ahead of time to take the day off. So, and then come back and fix everything. So that is the case. That is the lame amount of days that you have off. So that's the days you have off, no matter how many days you have in. And I've been maxed out on how many days I work for probably 15 years now. At least 12. I don't remember exactly, and it's not that many, but that's what we're known here for in the United States, is not getting a lot of days off. But even if I had more days off, it would be a major pain if they weren't days that the entire plant was shut down and I'd have to do the work ahead of time. It really is a major pain to have to do everything in advance. I don't have a understudy or somebody that covers for me or anything. But enough about work. We'll be doing that crap here in a little bit. Anyhow, we're going to paint this horse. And I'm actually going a little lighter than I normally do on the dark coat on the horse. But that's the trade-off that the United States and the world had. The world gets a lot more days off than here in the United States, but we get guns. That was the trade-off. I guess. No, we notoriously have less days off than the rest of the world, generally. But it's okay. It's what I'm used to, There have been years where we didn't travel or do something, and it's like, well, I got to take the days off because they won't pay me. So I just didn't do anything with them. I just sat at home. I just felt like it was a waste. I just felt like I'd rather be at work. I don't want to plan and do all this work ahead of time, and then just sit around at home. It's got to be for a good reason. And it's not that I feel guilty about it. You earn your time off. The problem is I got to do all the work ahead of time and then fix it. So I don't want to do that stuff in vain. I want it to be for a good reason. But anyhow, I'd like to get this guy done because that way, I don't have a baggage element other than the camel, which the little camel you can't touch because he's got a weak leg. So I would not mind having a baggage element for that I can use for everybody who's not a desert nation. I guess this wouldn't work well for an Indian army either, and this is probably what I'm going to use as a camp for my Moldavians. So the other day I actually got 2 of these things done. 2 of these guys done. I hadn't planned on it. I hope to try another solo blind general game today, and we'll post up some conclusions on Facebook. Yeah, those suggestions, I thought about it. I haven't really tried it, how it would work on solo. I've thought about doing a solo game, and I think it would be fun because I do enjoy talking to myself. Mitch is never going to get to the level that I am of being able to express what he's doing. I don't know if he just doesn't have it in him, or I got a lot more practice at it than he does. And I don't give a shit about winning, especially in a game that's not being scored on my wins and losses because it's just a scenario game. So I'm kind of going towards wanting to play more of those than standard games. And I'm not going to just be like, I'm going to play standard games and I'm not going to keep score. It's not we're always keeping score, keeping records. Because then, why did I waste these 17 years of keeping records? It is really interesting to going back and looking at what happened and when, with whom, and what it was about. So when somebody says, hey, how many times have you taken a camp? I can go look it up. I'm not going to remember that. But anyhow, I think it would be entertaining from the standpoint of, like this week. This week would be a perfect example to do a solo game. I'll go in, on the main table and film a solo game or two, and use a method where I'm pulling chits and stuff like that for to see how many pips I get. But I would rather spend the time painting. I need to paint. I feel like I get enough gaming as it is, anyways. I sometimes feel like I get too much gaming. For instance, it's a game night tonight, and depending on how many people show up, I may or may not film. If it's more than 3 of us, I'm just not going to film. I'm not staying up till 1:30 in the morning trying to film freaking games. It's just, that will destroy my entire week. It took me a whole week to get back on schedule. It's not that I could not have filmed last week. It just wasn't worth it. I was just too tired. Just like last night, I was just, I got home about 8. I could have probably filmed from 8:30 on doing this. I was just too tired. It just wasn't worth it. If this was paying me like a job, like you better do it, then yeah, but it just wasn't worth it. So I'm not going to let this week get destroyed with that. I got a few things that I got to do, and if you're filming a game, I guess I could just not film the last game, but I'm not going to do that because it'll end up being the freaking coolest one. But enough of you guys show up in the morning. Maybe we'll do this every morning this week. Maybe this will be a thing. I'm a big fan of doing something positive, and I call this a positive thing, before you do anything else in the day. It's my morning yoga. And I was in a bad mood the other morning because I didn't paint first thing. Even if it's just chit chat, paint, talk about the hobby, what have you. But yeah, Mitch was on a roll the other day. The video before last, talking about what he was doing, and I think on the last one, he kind of reclused up a little bit. I like talking about it because then people don't have to ask, well, why did you do this? Because I talked about why I did it, and I like laying out, well, I rolled a 1. Oh, man, that's tough. I can do this, or I can do this, or maybe I can do the other thing, or maybe I can, and it's fun to do all that stuff, even for myself, even if it wasn't being filmed, because it helps me process all of my options. It's self-coaching, as I like to call it. So you put up a lot of games recently. I'm struggling to watch everything. Yeah. Well, that old saying, make hay while the sun still shines. We're not going to be able to play every Friday, like we didn't play last Friday. So if a Friday comes available that we can play, and that's not pre-planned, it's almost kind of like, hey, doing anything tonight? No. All right. Ask the wife, are we doing anything? No. All right. I'm going to Mitch's. Okay. That kind of thing. That's the planning involved on the Friday. It doesn't get decided until Friday. And sometimes not until Friday afternoon. And sometimes not until Friday afternoon, so. Because I actually told him, I said, hey, let's play Tuesday. Right? Because he's off Monday and Tuesday. Let's play Tuesday. There's no girls here on Tuesday, which means nothing really keeping me from going there. Nothing I've got to do or no one needs help with after work. Let's play on Tuesday. Oh, I got to work on Tuesday because his whole schedule got messed up because he's taking Friday off. You know, he's got to work every Friday, so shot that out the window. But it's probably a good thing. We don't need to film anymore for a little while. You guys have enough stuff to digest. I got to get some awards done. They're not super time consuming, but it's something else to add to it. And we'll try to go to the gym every day. And go and paint, you know. Father's Day every year, I take a day's vacation as a painting day. The family leave me alone, provide me with meals and coffee. Always a great day. It's like solitary confinement in prison. Yeah, but you don't get to commit the fun crime. Oh, wait. Father's Day. Last year was my 50th in June, around Father's Day. My birthday's around Father's Day. Every year. And last year, I took my day off. And I'm never working on my birthday again. I'm not going to. Well, this year it falls on I think it falls on a Sunday. Saturday, something like that. I think it falls on a Saturday. So I don't want to work on my birthday again. You having a good day today? Yeah, it's my birthday, but I got to go to friggin' work. So yeah, I never work on Father's Day because it's on Sunday. But yeah, you took an extra day off. Yeah, I like that. Not working on the day. Not working on your birthday. Okay, we got all kinds of accoutrement on here. Looks like there's like a cloth that this stuff is on top of. What? This other one has a cloth. What did you do? Did you do like a light green? I guess I could do like a red color, but I don't want it to be really bright red. I do want it to stand out. Let's do a reddish color. We don't like it, we'll just repaint it. Slide your meal and coffee under the door. Leave me alone all day long. 5 of you. Almost better than a Saturday. You guys are real busy on Saturdays. I noticed that. Sunday is better than Saturdays. I don't know. And another thing, if I stay up late tonight, I can't do this tomorrow morning. So, yeah, maybe we'll do that. Maybe this will be a thing. I just don't want to do this for less than an hour. Because then it's just not worth it. It's not worth it to get everybody in here and... Oh, really? We put a hole in that? This thing's getting old is what that means. Gotta change the sheet on that. I'm not too worried about the paint going through. It's somehow managed to work its way through at other times. Yep, now we got a red spot there. Oh well. Any other place have the tradition that if your birthday is a work day, you bring in cakes for the office? No. Why would you bring in cakes on the day that you should be getting cakes? No. No, there's a tradition here. I don't know if it's a tradition, but around Christmas time, people like mail like food and stuff to you. Like they fatten you up. Not that I fall for that bait. What else happens? There's a tradition here that when a salesman comes, they bring like donuts and stuff for the office. Now, I don't know how you guys are about donuts. whether that's entirely a American tradition or whatever. It Donuts are like the worst thing you could possibly eat, and one of the few things I don't touch because I pretty much have a cast iron stomach. But something about a donut will immediately give me heartburn because a donut is uber sweet and uber fatty, and I never have those two things together myself. I tend to never have uber sweet things at all, and don't necessarily have uber fatty things either. But the two together is just like, why would you have a breakfast food that puts you back to sleep? Now you get up and I have coffee, I get shit done, right? Not eat something that is just all carbs and super sugars, and I will just end up going back to sleep. So that's kind of a tradition. I don't know if it's a tradition, but that happens. It doesn't happen very often, but one thing that happened this week, and I made note of it particularly because it was extremely odd that it happened this year. But other than this last Friday, other than Good Friday, every single Friday in Lent, they decided to do something at work where they provided food that had meat in it. And I don't think it's that big of a deal. But the girls were doing the no meat on Friday, and I'm like, oh, I'll go ahead and do it with you guys. And it's like every single time, like, hey, we've got breakfast sandwiches with bacon, and I'm like, I can't eat that. Well, you take the bacon off. What's the freaking point then? I said, no, I don't need that. Or then they had pizza or whatever. It was like, really, you guys went out of your way to do that? And it wasn't like I was, dying to have the food, but it was like awfully coincidental. Yeah, we have that in New Zealand as well. Donuts? I thought donuts were a stupid American tradition. It's just, nobody should be eating donuts. They're so bad for you. Not that I'm a health nut, but I'd like to be like a really healthy gamer. It's not saying a whole lot. I don't have any health issues, but I'd like to keep it that way. Keep it that way. Yeah, they always wanted to bring meat on Fridays. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, it's not like it's the end of the world if I had it, but I'm like, it's kind of like breaking a diet. You don't want to do it, if you. It's like quitting smoking and never having another smoke. What's the point in having something if then you can't say, well, I haven't had a smoke since March 28th, 1998. Donuts are a Berlin tradition. Ah, it's the Germans. They're called Berliner. So poor JFK announced to the world, I am a donut. That why they put a hole through him? Oh, too soon? I did not know that. I did not know that. I did not know that. So, one of the books I wanted to do on Audible was the O'Reilly's book on killing Kennedy because I liked the Reagan one, and but then I read kind of a discourse about it, and it didn't go through all the conspiracies, and I wanted to go through the conspiracies because I don't know them well. I am not into presidential stuff very much or politics, and I kind of wanted it to be a one-stop shop where I didn't have to go in different directions and read different things, but it didn't go into the conspiracies. I was kind of or so that's what I read that the book is. So, yeah. The Reagan book is really good. The Patton book, I'm always saying it's a good thing for the author to narrate his own books. He's a terrible narrator. And you would think he would be good considering he's media. No. His pacing on the meter, it was painful. It was really, really painful. So That's it. We probably won't do any more of his books. But I did want to do the Kennedy one because I don't know anything about the conspiracies. Well, I'd like to find out more about them, you know. I'm not a conspiracy person. I'm not saying they're not out there. I'm just saying that's not my immediate... That's not the first thing I think of. I think that relies on the government being too competent. I think the government is naturally incompetent. Not necessarily nefarious. At least our government. Or Western governments. There we go. We should leave it at that. I don't think that they're nefarious. I could be wrong. I could be completely and totally wrong. And I hope I'm not completely and totally wrong. But I don't immediately go to the conspiracy. As some people do. I've said before, some people need things to believe in. I don't. I got enough of this. I got enough on my history plate. Okay, let's do a couple of sacks here. Can we do one in a brightish color and get away with it? And by brightish, I mean really not that bright. How about a Games Workshop paint? We haven't used a Games Workshop paint in a long time. You know, like a color. What do we got here? I don't have that many to pick from. Elf Gray. That's lame. Is this one still alive? Goblin Green. Gobo Green. Sounds like it. This is actually one of the colors, believe it or not, that I used as a basing for some of my figures. I believe this might be the base color on these troops. Oh. Ah, smells like Margaret Thatcher. That's how old this thing is. I'm sure I got this thing in the 89, 88, 89, something like that. Made in the UK. U.S. importer, Games Workshop in Baltimore, Maryland. One of those high crime-ridden cities in the United States, as far as I know, or used to be. We travel through there on the way back from Historicon every year. Well, back when they had it. When it's in Pennsylvania, we travel through there on Sunday morning, real early, so we don't get stuck in that gridlock traffic. All right. Let's paint the sack this color. It's like a big duffel. I want to paint the other sack on the other side. It's exactly the same shape, the same color. You might highlight it differently, but I think I got 2 hours left or an hour and a half left or something like that on my Byzantine book before I'm done with that one. I'm probably going to roll right into another one. I don't know which one it is yet, but I'm going to have Byzantines on my mind. this one that I'm reading right now isn't one you want to read as your first one because it hops around a lot. Not that I'm confused, but it leaves a lot of characters out. It doesn't go over like every single emperor and so forth. It's just called Lost to the West. And it's pretty good, actually. But I'm kind of going through these so that some of the history becomes kind of second nature. Like I was reading this book, and I knew it was coming up, and I'm like, isn't Basil the Basil the Bulgar Slayer coming up? I was thinking he came up before Nicephorus, and he did not. And it's like, oh, see, that's not second nature to me yet. So definitely some interesting characters. I still think Justinian's a dick. Morning session. Yeah, that's right. Maybe we're going to continue this. Yep. It's no girls week. Well, they may be back on Thursday, but no girls week. So partying with Tony. Yeah, me and my crazy lifestyle here. So maybe we'll do something positive before we go to the salt mines every morning. Because I do not have the day off, unfortunately. So yeah, I want to read this Byzantine stuff, so a lot of it becomes kind of second nature. Yeah, not a fan of Justinian. And I started off reading Byzantine history I think it's the Byzantine podcast. And it's not that I couldn't follow it, but it was like, that guy is just not very charismatic at all. He doesn't work for me. He's related to the guy that I said that narrates, related to in style, the guy that does the narration for Dan Jones. What's the name of his book that's so good? Oh, the Plantagenets. He's a boring British person, and I've got no problem with English narrators. I probably prefer them, but man, you got to have some gusto in how you talk. You got to do what you got to do to get through the day. That's right. It's better than drugs. Painting every morning. It's cheaper. No prescription required. You can refill it every morning. Can you OD on painting? Yeah, I guess you can if I just say F it and don't go to work. We got another color here that we used. I think we're gonna use that for the next one. Oh, I'm out of liquids. I've got to go get liquids. I will be right back. We'll get to some tea. We got another 30 minutes in on us. Yeah, so maybe we can do this. Well, obviously this morning. Tomorrow morning would involve me not staying over Mitch's late in gaming. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to film tonight. I just don't want to. I don't want to be up till 1 in the morning. And by not filming, I can leave at any time. I can just say, at 10 o'clock, I can just say, I've had enough. Maybe even earlier. Because we've got a convention at the end of the week, and I don't want to get all thrown for a loop for that. More is not better. I say that pretty frequently. And you never understand the meaning of it until you've had more. And then realize it's not better. The only problem with not filming any games that we do is I run the risk of the game being extremely cool and something really unique we find, and then it's not on film. I haven't played a game that hasn't been filmed in a long time. So I might just run multiple games at the same time. That's the problem. When we're filming, we're only doing one game at a time. I may just put the camera and play 2 games at the same time and just not edit and just put it up, kind of like I did with our convention games that we did. We're not going to do it live or anything. The live feed's been kind of, it's human nature. You get addicted to 1080. When you go back to 720, it looks really like garbage, and I can't live feed other than 720 because unless you live fed here. By the way, how is my internet connection on a work day? Well, I got 17 warnings. I don't know what the hell that means. Read your unread notifications. No, I'm filming. What's up with the performance window? It's experiencing issues. Wow. Those damn clones. You finally got Brazen Chariots Battles for Tobruk on the table to play. I see that. And you say Brazen Chariots, and I think of honeys. Bring out the honeys. Love the honeys, man. The honeys look awesome. Play a couple scenarios. Fun game. 7th Armored Brigade clash big time with 5th Light Panzer and several Kampfgruppe in a proper tank versus tank fight. Yeah. 5th Light turned into... What did it turn into? Did it turn into the 15th? Or the 21st? I forget. Yeah. Everybody thinks, honeys are shit. Yeah, well, if they encounter a Panzer II, they'll eat them for lunch. Honey's pretty freaking decent for a light tank. I mean, like, really freaking decent. It's a 37 millimeter gun as opposed to the 2-pounder, so it's 3 millimeters smaller, but it had the capability of firing canister, I believe, which I want to see that in action. That's like a big shotgun. Boom! Get out of here. A 37 millimeter, what is it? 53 caliber, I think. That's the stuff that I remember from playing Command Decision. He always used real terminology for the weapons instead of, it's a class 3 37 millimeter gun. Yeah, it's bullshit. Frank Chadwick talked about the real weapons, and that's good. You're learning something real, not just some gamey thing. 37 millimeter 53 caliber weapon. That's a long caliber weapon. It was a decent gun. I mean, yeah, you don't want to go up against, Panthers with it. But it had some HE capability, fired fast. And those Stuarts had as much armor as Crusaders. And they were fast. And they were more reliable, unfortunately. Crusaders are a beautiful tank. Not actually sure what the 5th Light turned into after North Africa. No, in North Africa. In North Africa. They may actually have been the 15th. The 5th Light may have actually turned into the 5th Panzer Regiment, and I think the 5th Panzer Regiment was the core of the 15th Panzer Division. I don't remember anymore. I don't remember anymore. I want to say the 8th Panzer Regiment was the one from the 21st, and the 5th was the one from the 15th. And how do I remember that? I don't know. From years of modeling. I don't mean runway modeling. I mean 1/35th scale modeling. And then there was the 90th Light Division. The 90th Light Division turned into something else. I forget what the hell it was. But later on, like Al Hamein, it turned into something else. It ended up being the core or the cadre of something, some other division. That's not fresh in my mind anymore. I haven't thought about that in over 25 years. But you can't help but remember some of those stupid things that you learn along the way. I need a gray color. A grayish color. Let's do this one. It has a little bit of blue in it. Why not? Well, it's not even I don't even know what the hell this thing's colored. See, here's the problem with this. I got the color painted at the top, but no writing or anything on it. It all got rubbed off, and it's almost like there was whatever glue that was on the back came through and washed all that stuff away. Well, whatever color this is. Stuart Honey was a great light tank for the early mid-war period. They had speed and maneuverability. Yeah, it was fast as shit. And they're cute, too. Especially when they took some of those damn machine guns off. Because, man, they had freaking like 5 machine guns. They had like an AA machine gun, a coax, a hull-mounted one. And then they had like 2, and I'm going to say sponsons, even though they weren't really sponsons. They were kind of like forward-facing on the, where like a headlight would be on the front. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 freaking machine guns and a 37mm cannon. Yeah, when you have more machine guns than you have crew members, it's probably a bad sign. You probably have too many. Yeah. I don't know that when we did, because I used to do micro armor in North Africa. I love the North African theater. I think it's super, super cool. Both sides are particularly interesting. And, to me anyways. And, the Germans, because they're a hodgepodge of different things. And the British, because, they got cool camouflage schemes. And I love those cruiser tanks. We used to do that stuff, but we didn't do like the really early stuff. So we did like, I don't think we even did. And if you do the stuff in June 41, you just can't stop Matildas. You can't do anything. You got to use an 88. I don't think they had 50mm anti-tank guns in huge numbers, but even then, a 50mm, a Pac 38 is going to have a hell of a time going into a Matilda. Still, other than unless you're like at short range or something like that. 88s are Stukas. You have to like pinpoint bomb those things. They're just a nightmare to deal with armor-wise. So we usually did like stuff around Operation Crusader. So November 41. Things really balanced. I think that was you still had cruiser tanks back then. You do Alamein and stuff, and you got a lot of the U.S. You got a lot of the Brits are using U.S. equipment, and I didn't go to the desert to see U.S. tanks. You know what I mean? I don't mind the Honeys, but when everybody's running Shermans. Although the Commonwealth did find a way to make the Sherman look more appealing by painting it differently. I was on my way down south this weekend. I was watching a live feed on a book review on Sherman tanks, and this person was saying that the Sherman was his favorite tank, and it surprised me because I've never heard someone say that. And it's not to poo-poo that the Sherman wasn't a good tank. It's just, let's face it, a Sherman is not an attractive-looking vehicle to begin with. And then On top of that, most of them did not get painted in a very interesting or cool fashion. Okay, now some of the desert Shermans did have, the camouflage scheme that they used in North Africa with the dark splotches and stuff like that, and made them look a lot better. But the U.S. looking Shermans, they look like ass. They just look like crap. That doesn't mean that was a bad tank or anything. That's just saying I've never heard somebody saying Sherman's my favorite tank. So it really caught my attention. I don't necessarily mind them. I just understand that they're ugly. I mean, that's why they sell so many damn German tank models. Not because the world's full of white supremacists, but just the German stuff looks cool. It does. I mean, they're rat bastards, but their stuff looks cool. Anyhow. They're perfect tanks supporting infantry formation, speed loaded with machine guns. They could wipe out several fixed positions and cover infantry assaults. I'm actually thinking about converting my 1940 Panzers and BEF over in North Africa. They're 6mm GHQ armor. I hate the campaign in Poland and France. The French tanks are cool. I do not like German tanks without the turret bustle. The turret storage thing behind them, they just look weird. And German tank crew members with berets just look stupid. But that's what they use. And Poland's even worse. I don't want to use... I don't like the Germans running around with Swiss markings, if you know what I'm saying. Just present us with an introduction. Who's playing whom and what? Some highlights. Interest is watching the decision-making process. Requires a close view of the war. 5th Light Division. Became 21st Panzer. Okay. 5th Panzer Regiment. Okay. So then it was the 8th that was the 15th. The only attractive Sherman tank is a knocked-out Sherman tank. No, I think the Firefly looks pretty good. The Israeli Super Shermans are cool looking. I mean, like, really cool looking. But they've got the Easy 8 suspension also. The Easy 8 suspension makes things look a lot better. In my opinion. But, yeah, the U.S. Sherman tanks just look... It's the paint scheme more than anything else. Because there's lots of ugly tanks. There's lots of ugly tanks, but at least they were painted cool, Matildas could only really be stopped by 50, PCR and a flank if you didn't have 88s. Or a direct Stuka hit. Or they run out of fuel, they break down. Or you had to change the suspension. Man, I'd hate to change take all that big armor plate. That's a pain in the... What a pain in the butt. What a major pain in the butt that must have been. And then you got to do it in the desert. And they're really small, right? They're a three-person tank. You got a driver that sits in the middle, and then you got the commander and the loader. I guess, yeah, it's a two-man turret. I don't think it's a three-man turret. That's a tight. But everybody likes Matildas. Matildas are like, what did I say the other day? I said something the other day, like, everybody likes so-and-so. There's some things there may be some people that don't like it, but it is a very, very small amount of people. Firefly had a nice can. Oh, yeah, 17-pounder that thing is a beast. That thing is a beast. German saw a guy and knew they could be knocked out real fast. Russian American tanks getting bad. I have to agree with you on that, Tony. Yes, that's why they painted them. That's why they make so many German stuff. Now, when I was modeling stuff, when I was doing my 1/35th scale phase, I like my German tanks gray. I just think it looks better. It just matches the uniforms better. But you kind of have to paint things the way the color things were. I guess you can start inventing your own stuff, but at that point you might as well just paint fantasy. And I'll tell you what, this is probably an unpopular opinion. I think the American stuff in North Africa is kind of cool because they used yellow markings. It's just something different, you know. Not that they did that for very long, because they weren't in that. They weren't in that theater very long. I think they ditched that in Sicily. I don't think they used yellow markings when they went to Sicily. I could be wrong. Not my period, not my area of expertise. It's certainly not my area of expertise anymore. I am well out of practice. I think we got this guy just about done. That means I can get the last guy done tomorrow morning. Because tonight just isn't an option. Unless I just don't make it over there tonight. Which I got half a mind to do. Only because we're going to get plenty of gaming done this weekend. 105 Howitzer had an effective AP shell that had some chance against a Matilda. Big question is, can a Matilda really do against infantry positions? Run them over. Get stuck on him when he's running them over. Should change your live stream to painting and talking World War II. I think we talk a lot of World War II. Live said, I am a World War II gamer. I am. That used to be my religion. And I don't practice it anymore. I'm a non-practicing World War II gamer. I've got lots of books on this stuff. But, I don't give a shit about, a book on Eisenhower. I want to look at the stuff that creates skirmish scenarios. So, that's what I'm, operational stuff and tactical stuff is what I like to look at. So I've got a lot of reference material on that stuff. I just, I just don't enjoy gaming it because the level that I want to enjoy it, does not make it practical. So, like paint schemes of American tanks and Commonwealth service. Yep, because of the brown colors. Exactly. I think the Army green is just way too bland. It is. And the Commonwealth, second to the Germans. I'm sorry, the Germans are the masters of this. What did you say the Germans are the masters of? Frickin' propaganda and art and shit like that, okay? Unit schemes and markings and stuff. The Commonwealth are really close because those things that they put on the fenders, they're pretty freaking cool looking. They've got good insignia for their units and they've got the placards with a big red and white 61 and stuff on them. They do a good job of making their stuff look exciting. I know that's not important in a war. You got to win the war first. But as a modeler, that stuff is exciting. And the Commonwealth do a good job of that with the unit markings. And they're pretty, they're definitely number two. They're number two when it comes to that. Russians have the same problem. They have what unit is it? I don't know. Send it forward. It'll be dead in 3 days, Crunch all you want. They'll make more. You're a World War II gamer and history nut. Find the whole history of war fascinating. It is. It's our horror. It's our horror movie that we watch. The problem with it is I was so into it that it becomes difficult to find. Maybe not now, because when I was really into it, the Soviet Union really hadn't fallen yet. But now that we have access to other stuff, even though it's propaganda also, but at least it's another viewpoint. Even though the Russian archives might be filled of things that are not true, when you're fighting somebody and both people describe the same thing, it's probably happened. So, but anyhow, at least it's a point counterpoint way to look at things. But at the time, I was running out of stuff that I was interested in reading about. Because I'm not interested in, there's lots of stuff in World War II that I'm just not interested in, you know. I'm not interested in very over big overview stuff. I'm interested in the little tactical problems. A bit generous with the 3 days for Russian tanks. Well, it depends. You know. I tell you what I can't watch, though. I can't watch the modern Russian movies. They're just so full of just bullshit propaganda. They're just absolutely horrible. They're just as bad as if the Soviet Union was still going on. But they're just annoying for me. It's not like I'm going to be like, oh, I guess that's the way it happened. It's portrayed in a movie. It's, I'm definitely not of that mindset. But that Russian movie, what was it, T-34? What a horrible storyline. But man, the special effects were freaking awesome. That movie has the best special effects I think I've ever seen. That's why I watched the damn. That's why I put up with it. That thing was awesome when it came to special effects. But see, that's, if you watch that movie and go, well, why does Tony think he can't get anything done in the game? Because that is the kind of combat I want to see in my game. Okay, roll to see if you hit a tank. All right, roll to see where you hit on the tank. What's the armor penetration value there? Okay, roll for penetration. What kind of damage does it do internally? Who gets shocked? You know, that's the kind of stuff I want to see, is the whole slow motion combat. Well before that movie came out. That's what I like to see. You know, the storyline of that movie is just asinine, but the special effects are awesome. You know, there's that one scene where they fire a shell, and the shell goes into the command post where all like the people are observing the maneuvers and stuff like that. And I don't know if I get the details right on this because I've watched a couple of movies that have a similar type of scenario, I think, or I remember it correctly. But there's this one scene, and it's actually in the little clips if you find it online on YouTube, that just shows all the special effects things. And they fire this HE shell. Hopefully it's HE because it behaved like HE into this command room where all this German officers are at, and it goes into the freaking room and it detonates on like the back wall or a support on the back of the room and blows. It just, that's amazing. That's the stuff I want to game. You know, where does it hit in the room? All right, what effect does it have? Well, this horse is done. We'll call this joker done. I got another minute. I got a few more minutes in me. Great, now I'm gonna be late for work. Want a scary number? The Soviets used over 6,200 tanks in their assault on Berlin. That's a lot of cannon fodder. Yeah, it was just overwhelming numbers by that point. I don't know that I'd gained stuff after that. I like fair battle stuff, so I'm a big fan of 1942 stuff. And 43. After that, it just becomes really one-sided. You know. Assault on Berlin, that many tanks, it just becomes mobile artillery. Mobile direct fire artillery. Oh, maybe they're firing indirect, who knows? We're going to make this guy gray. Make it so. Dark blue-gray. I don't see any blue in this, but okay. So I've never gamed any 1945 stuff. I don't even do Battle of the Bulge. It's just too late. Never built any SS units. Not opposed to it, just didn't feel the need to. Now I would want to do that. I'd want to do that little P dot camo just to see if I can pull it off and be happy with it. Yeah, I've never done any SS stuff. All right, Captain Picard. You know, I've only seen like 3 episodes of that. Nah, I've watched more. I had a friend of mine who had a thing for Next Generation. I never liked any of the Star Trek stuff. I'm not a Star Trek person. Bulge and Market Garden, the absolute latest I would game World War II. Bulge is a problem if I'm doing miniatures because it's you need to do some kind of snow type stuff. You got these bases that are all like green and you're playing Battle of the Bulge. Just don't worry about it for a little bit. The 7th Armored, the British 7th Armored wasn't in Market Garden, was it? The guards were the ones that led the assault. The ones that had the symbol of that Illuminati eye, the ever-seeing eye. They're being led by the Illuminati. Yeah. I don't think the 7th was there. Italy's kind of a sideshow. I mean, not in a real war. There's no doubt that it made an impact. I have Allied troops there too. I'm just saying, people don't game Italy. I've never played an Italian game. I would think in a lot of ways it'd probably make a better game than Northwest Europe because the emphasis wasn't put there. So maybe there's a chance to rugged terrain, and I just mean from a wargaming standpoint, I think it'd be pretty cool. You actually like Star Trek. Most people do. I just didn't grow up with it, so I'm not a science fiction fan. I had this conversation with him the other day. I'm not a fan of science fiction or fantasy, but I've had more experience gaming fantasy than science fiction. I think that you need to make science fiction more believable than fantasy. There's some, like, to give you an example, let's use Battletech, okay? And I've played a fair amount of Battletech, and Battletech is a cool game, and it's obviously science fiction. But when you start dealing with science fiction, it's generally a lot of the science fiction revolves around, or a lot of the science fiction that I've read or been involved with, it revolves around the future, obviously. Not necessarily, but always revolves around the future. And a certain timeline, like it's 2500 AD, or it's 23 something AD, or something like that. So you have this perception that everything is going to be more advanced. And if you take a game like Battletech, the things that some of the modern units can do are more capable at longer ranges than they can in the game. And you start comparing it like, well, why is that? and it starts becoming like, well, that doesn't make any sense, or that's not very realistic. When it's fantasy, it doesn't necessarily have to happen on this planet or this world or what have you. So I almost feel like I have to quantify. I have to compare it to the real world with science fiction to make sure that everything checks out okay, so that I'm kind of happy with the environment. I don't know if that makes any sense what I'm trying to get at, but when it's fantasy, it could just be something else. You know, it's like where they started with Star Wars, in a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Okay, so they've got more advanced things than they do now. So apparently in that galaxy, things advance a lot faster than in this one. So they've already said this ain't Earth, so don't compare it to Earth. Well, then I'm okay with it. It is whatever it is. But when you start saying, hey, this is Earth in 2500 AD, I'm like, why don't they still have the internet? Or something like that. You compare it to something else. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking stuff, but the 7th was fighting towards the Siegfried Line. Okay, so it was in the south. Penfilov's 28 is a good movie, one I enjoyed. I made it halfway through and I just got bored. Anzio and Casino are interested in wargaming possibilities. Used to play Crete. That's another kind of a lost. People forget about that. New Zealanders versus Fallschirmjägers. No armor, though. Like a good science fiction show or movie, but it has to be what I term hard science fiction, which is gritty and realistic. Have you ever heard of Traveler's RPG? That type of science fiction. I have. I remember people used to play it. I've never played it, but... I never played it, but yeah, I heard about it. And somebody's got a loud truck. All right, we got another, say, 5 minutes. See if we can finish this horse, and we'll try to do this again tomorrow morning. So if I had to decide right now if I was going to game tonight, I probably would say I'm not going to. It's going to throw my whole week off. And I'm telling you, there's going to be plenty of gaming this weekend. There's no reason to kill yourself. And I got a lot of stuff I got to do. Gaming related. Yeah, at this point, the stand will get done. This is... I'll finally have a baggage element. And I don't care if this guy's got Roman shields. Hey, how come this guy's got Roman shields in a medieval environment? I don't know. He's the first original Indiana Jones. He found some. Well, people can't find stuff. What time did I start today? Well, I've been on there an hour and 16 minutes, so close to 5. So, and of course, there's going to be no painting next weekend because it's our show. Unless they put some kind of last minute mandate that keeps us from going. I don't think that's going to happen, but got to keep an open mind. Okay. Well, there we have it. We did get one guy done, along with the other two. And these horses are freaking tiny. They are very, very small. And to show you, here's an Old Glory Byzantine infantryman. And they're very, very small. They're chariot miniatures. I don't know why the hell they made them that small, but so we'll need 4 of them to fill up this this stand. But we're just going to put them in a logger there, just kind of just hanging out here, you know. And you won't see gaming this weekend. Yep. Sorry. Give us time to catch up on the 15 hours worth of TBA. Yeah, that's right. That's right. The good games. Almost all those games were really good. Some of them were. A couple of them I don't ever want to play again. They were just too torturous. Doesn't mean they weren't good games. They were just, you know, they were torturous. Maybe I'll just get drunk and play them. I've gotten to the point where I don't drink while I'm gaming. You know, we're gaming late. Last thing I need to do is be sleepy. Okay, folks. Thanks for stopping by. I think this was a hit. Just kind of a unexpected thing. And we got another little light here. I think it helped a little bit. Anyways, enjoy your Monday. And maybe we'll see you tomorrow morning. And